I sometimes feel like the expectation again is always on those who are victimized to go out and do the teaching. It's always the ones who are victimized who have to explain things, who have to say, you can't treat me like this, you can't do this and this. And the ones who are doing the victimizing, they're the ones who sit back and be like, yeah, well, it's not that bad. Not all of us, because everybody wants to be a special snowflake and get a cookie and be like, well, not all of us. And I'm like, missing the point. It's a lot. The last thing the other story was a story that is now being dubbed #taxi rape. And this story, I was already back on social media when this story kind of broke, or when I was maybe catching it somewhere in the middle, not when it actually happened or when it broke. And like, this story for me, it's a lot. The issue of rape and gender-based violence, and it's a lot. It really is a lot. Because again, it's one of those things where we have these conversations all the time, we talk about women's experiences all the time. We talk about the experiences, whether it's walking down the road, whether it's in a taxi or a bus or the train, whether it's at school, whether it's at wherever it is, we talk about women experiences all the time. And what I've found to have happened every single time is people find a way to gaslight, or people find a way to derail. So, anytime there's this type of situation, or anytime there's a rape, people always want to put their expectation, and put everything on women, to say, don't wear this, don't go there, be friendly, smile, don't appear aggressive, walk in groups, always call somebody. Like, it's all of these things that again are the things that a woman is supposed to do, without actually dealing with the fact that, women aren't raping themselves. Do you understand? And never in the media, never in conversations have I ever seen where people are saying, men, do better, men, whatever. Like, I never see it where people are teaching men. And anytime women talk about how, men are this or men are trash, as it is on Twitter and all of those things, there's always those men who come up and say, not all men, we're not all like that. And I'm like, you're not listening. Women tell of their experience every single day, different types of experiences all the time, And again, it's why is it always placed on the women to always explain, and always teach, but no one is telling these men, act right or whatever. It's like, I almost feel like people don't realize the amount of precautions women take in their daily lives. Even something like a taxi. The number of times I've talked to my friends about it, that like, if you're in a taxi, you kind of pay attention to the ratio of men to women, If you're in a taxi and you start to realize that people are getting off, you get a little nervous if you start to see that you're the only woman left and there's a bunch of guys in the taxi, Like, even catching a taxi late, because a lot of women, take taxis, they work till late and they have to take public transportation, things like that we have to think about, or even like driving school, for example. I've had a lot of women say that, even when thinking about driving school, they always try and find a driving school where they can have a female instructor. It's all of these different things that, women have to think about. And even if they're not aware that they're thinking about it, we make our choices and our decisions based off of all of these things. How is that a way to live? And then people, when we talk about these things, always want to come back and be like, yeah, well, what about this? What about that? Don't do this. And it's like, it's exhausting. It really is exhausting, And for the news to then come out to say that women must be more vigilant or whatever, it's like, we're vigilant all the time. Our vigilance is not the problem. That's not the issue here. But again, that's been made to be the issue, that, you know, you need to be vigilant and make sure that you're paying attention or whatever, whatever. But so nothing about these men, or nothing directed at these men. None of that. It's like, how many times are we going to have these conversations? You know, how many times are we going to do all of these things before people start to realize that it's not a woman's fault? It's never a woman's fault. Ever. You know, and start to focus on saying, okay, men, we're going to teach you, you know, you need to learn these things. You need to unlearn all of the things that you may have learned and learn new things. I mean, it's always something, you know. Like, even your favorite rappers have no problem having dodgy logic when it comes to rape and gender-based violence. No problem at all. I saw someone share this on Twitter, and it was basically a quote by Prof. Pumla. She wrote a book called Rape, A South African Nightmare. And I've seen this book a number of times, and I've always put off buying it because I knew how much it was going to take out of me reading it. But, you know, I know I'm definitely going to get it. And she basically says in this book that, where she says, in South Africa, rape is not a moment, but a language. And I get what she's saying. I understand the bigger picture, you know. The way things are in this country, it's just... and again, you know, it's like... and I hate to say this, it's like, you know, there's gonna be, you know, other situations, and then we're gonna be angry again, and we're gonna be told the same things, that women need to be doing this and women need to be doing that, without solving the problem, you know. Think about all of these different things in these 3 stories. It really does make me question and wonder about the status of this nation, you know, and how we're going to deal, how we're going to be better as a people. I, for one, haven't lost hope. I'm hopeful for this country for a number of different things, you know. It's just that these things happen, and we're reminded every day of what things really are like in this nation, you know. And it makes you wonder, like, what can be done or what needs to be done. And again, like I said, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I just know that some of the things that happen when we have these incidents are not being helpful. They're not being helpful. They're not adding anything to even trying to find a solution, you know. But yeah, it's just some thoughts, you know, just thinking about the status of this nation, you know. And I say it every time, you know, when something happens. I always tell people that, you know, stay prayed up, you know. All I know to do really is just, you know, to be praying, you know. It's like I say all the time on Facebook, prayers up, you know. That's all I know to do, because short of that, I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. But yeah, it's just some thoughts really I've just been thinking. But again, like I said, I'm hopeful for this nation. I don't think we are a lost cause, but we need to do better. We need to do better with how we deal with these types of incidents and how we engage, so we can be better. But yeah.